Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist, and tonight is not an usual night. I have a special guest.
And boy, am I special. Hey, this is Adam from the Roleplaying Exchange. Happy to be back to my second home.
We're happy for you to have you here. So, a little time ago, you guys any listeners of our show might remember a little episode that Adam was on. There's something weird in the woods of Slade, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about the title name?
I believe so. That was the episode that by the time we actually got around to recording it, it had disappeared from the annals of the internet, and you had to dig through like some deep-seated cache files.
Yeah, I had to go to archive.org, and luckily I had the link for the original website. So, yeah. So, and we brainstormed on a couple of like ideas because the story wasn't like great, but it did provide a lot of fodder for like what exactly is in Slade, Kentucky. And it also opened my eyes to the creepypasta state that is Kentucky.
We got quite a bit of things going on here. The original concept of that episode was us and Tara. We were all going to pick out something from our area that we live in, and then kind of show and tell kind of thing. And I happened to find the Slade, Kentucky one, which was, I mean, I could be in Slade in 40 minutes from where I live. It's not a big deal. I thought it was cool. I understood the references to the local scenery and all that, and I was glad to be able to jump on and talk about this. Your words were really kind. It was, dude, it was shitty.
It is, yeah. I mean, like, I don't like to shit on somebody else's work, especially if they're just starting or if they're kind of like. I mean, creepypasta is often an amateurish writing format, but it does bear fruit, and even sometimes it's even like just reading it and just like, well, I could like it does inspire sometimes.
Yeah,
So
much like manure can cause flowers to grow. I understand.
Exactly, yeah, that kind of little metaphor. But yeah, so and yeah, like you said, like that story, even like you recognize some of the things, like Miguel's Pizza, which is nightmarish to see even when I googled it.
Yeah, yes,
That's a logo, like
and and the trails, I've went on several of them and all, and it was cool. I wish I could have. Don't be mean, Adam. Don't be mean. I wish I could have, found the next great American novel, but instead I found that. But it spawned a pretty decent episode and a good conversation. And you know what? It spawned this episode, didn't it?
Yep, because there was your off comment of boop.
They compared it to being similar to a dolphin, which,
Yeah.
in my notes, I wrote, well, that's your typical Eastern Kentucky tree dolphin.
Thank you, editor me. Yeah, the Kentucky tree dolphin, which I just kind of took to because it was just so like it's such an evocative name. Like it felt like the kind of name that like Americana cryptids are.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got the like the Loveland Frogman, or the Hopkinsville Goblins, or which is also from Kentucky.
Yes.
The Doberman Demon or the Jersey Devil, like stuff like that. So, like, and then you have the Kentucky Tree Dolphin.
Yeah, which I really don't even know how I came up with that. It was that shit that that evocative description of the creature, and then like it just formed in my mouth as I said it. That makes no sense, but I mean, there was no forethought. But yeah, said something goofy. We giggled about it, and then weeks later,
Yeah, and then review cultist me is like on Twitter, like thinking about it, and then looking at all this Siren Head stuff, and like all the other fantastic new cryptid stuff that's coming out of the swamp. I think he's the Swampy Ghost on
Mhm.
Twitter. Trevor Henderson, and his like fantastic little like creepy photo manipulations. And I was like, I got inspired by that as well as the Kentucky Tree Dolphin. I was like, I want to make this into something. I want to design this cryptid.
Yeah.
Um, and so then I decided, and I'd been working on another idea for a cryptid called a cognivore, which is basically just a psychic vampire, or just like another name for a psychic vampire type creature that feeds on like mental energies and stuff like that. For another game idea, and I eventually kind of combined that creature as a subspecies along, like basically I started I started creating a genus of cognivores, um, stemming from like the Kentucky tree dolphin to this other creature that I eventually named the New England crab monkey. And then I started like looking at other like things that we had mentioned in Al dente rigor mortis, that we had like kind of come up with like as like headcanons or like as like spawned from other stories. So I have like about 4 cognivores right now set up, but we're going to talk mostly, I think, on the Kentucky tree dolphin,
Okay.
in this kind of kitchen episode of Al dente rigor mortis.
Okay. That sounds
So
great.
yeah, um, yeah, we also got a Twitter comment. I think like somebody wanted us to stat it out as Monster of the Week, or as a monster there.
Yeah.
And I happened to do that. I was happy to oblige.
And
Um,
before we get much further into it, you
yeah,
did draw one like little, would you say chibi style drawing of the
yeah.
Kentucky tree dolphin that I wish was a plushie because that was really cool looking.
One day. Well, because that even stems from another idea, like we were talking about, I think on in that episode of like combining some stuff, because you'd mentioned, you'd sent me or and shared with me some video feeds of like people using drones and like finding like urban exploring, essentially like abandoned places in like the woods of Kentucky. And they one video was of like this like Western themed theme park kind of thing, like basically all the saloons and stables and stuff like that, just in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And I kind of, in my head, I decided to smash those, like the Kentucky Tree Dolphin and this abandoned theme park thing together to kind of give it a home.
Mhm.
um, so yeah, and then so basically the idea that for that that I kind of came up with was that the Kentucky Tree Dolphin was had some either inspired somebody to like start like to kind of create a mascot character for this theme park,
Yeah.
or had been sighted enough times in the area that they decided to like try and make it like a Bigfoot kind of like roadside attraction kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you got the cute little, like, because the creature I sketched out originally looks, I tried to like incorporate dolphin like aspects to it, but also kind of make it like alien.
Yeah.
What with the like multiple different jointed arms and legs. um, and it'll be in the title card for this episode, either on YouTube or wherever I post the images for title cards. But
Yeah.
or if you can check out my Twitter, because I've posted a bunch since that episode. Um, but yeah, so my kind of in my head, my like the potential idea for the like incorporating the theme park aspect is that, so some person started basically making and selling merchandise about this Kentucky tree dolphin, and the plushie looks like a harmless little dolphin, like cute little dolphin idea. And they even call it like oh, what the hell did I even call it? It was like I want to say it was just like Dolphy or something like that.
Yeah.
um, and my idea is that the theme park, the reason why it's abandoned now and like no one's like really ever heard of it or anything like that, but even though like when the drone, somebody using their drone like finds it, and there's like merchandise like kind of decaying and like amidst like the rest of the ruin, is my impression is that the Kentucky tree dolphin itself exhibited more of its influence on like its whole like memory devouring thing, and so basically people just kind of forgot about this place. It's just like this like kind of random hole in the map.
Yeah.
that no one remembers because the tree dolphin basically was doing its job as a cognivore and basically ate everybody's memory of it, and
You're
potentially even some people, but who have now.
you're reverse Hydra in this stuff, aren't you?
I guess I am, yeah.
Hey, I like
Uh,
that idea.
yeah. Um, we should probably explain what the reverse Hydra is too.
Yeah, this is something that Tara shared with you, so I think you're probably better equipped than me. I read it. I
I gotta
watched
pull
it.
it up.
There's a whole video about it on YouTube that, future you may want to put a link in there too, where there's actually a campaign that somebody's
God,
retelling. Have you listened to that?
I haven't. I only saw I read that article she sent me. I did not check the video. I'll post it in the description though.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'll find it for you.
okay. Is the the false Hydra?
False Hydra, yeah, not
Yeah.
reverse Hydra. Psh. Whoops.
I'm just trying to pull up a quick thing for it. Maybe even future me can just quickly do a blurb right now. Boop. So the basic idea for the false Hydra came from a guy named Goblin Punch on his blog spot, where he did an article on the creature. And basically, this creature was inspired by the Dead Hand monster mini boss that is in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time at the bottom of the well in Kakariko Village. I'm going to use the descriptor that was given by the skullsplitterdice.com blog for the creature's gimmick. So, imagine you walk into a small town. Everything seems alright, except it's a little off. The town seems pretty big, but you don't see nearly as many people as there should be. Dozens of houses lie empty and dilapidated, and everybody you ask says nobody ever lived there. Animals keep freaking out unexpectedly. You trip over seemingly nothing. You arrive at an inn run by a lovely married couple. In the morning, only the wife remains, and she claims she never married. She cries when you press her about it, and she doesn't know why. This town is the unwitting lair of a false Hydra, and you've probably already seen it and forgotten about it a dozen times since you got there. If you're a Doctor Who fan, the false Hydra is basically the Silence in D&D monster form. It relies heavily on its blindness song to render itself invisible to everyone who comes across it, or at least to forget about it when they come across it. So you have like these gaps in your memory of like reacting to something, but you don't know what it is. Like you can't recall what it is that you were reacting to, but you have that. And again, it eats people and it gestates and matures until like there's like nobody left in the town. For more information on this creature and its stats, I recommend that you go check out Goblin Punch's blog for the article that inspired this whole thing, and go to Skull Splitter Dice blog for the stats and an article on the creature's phenomena. Back to you. Past me. Boop. Thank you. Yeah, so, yeah, basically I ended up kind of coming with this, like, because in that story of Slade, there's a lot of, like, missing time stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, some weird, like, hallucinations and stuff that were totally not just them having a bad trip in the story.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like it was, they were, like, it could easily be used or elaborated on that it was, like, some kind of, like, psychic attack that the creature was doing. So I decided to give it like the whole cognivore nature or element of like basically stealing memory and stealing your cognitive thought processes. So you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those are my initial like kind of ideas for the Kentucky Tree Dolphin, based off of what we started with, and then what I eventually kind of mutated into with that. Did you have any ideas or thoughts for the Kentucky Tree Dolphin?
Like if story wise or game wise, like which was.
I think for like both, like story or game. Like,
I hadn't really considered much of the cognitive devour. I mean, that was something you kind of focus on. But as you mentioned,
yeah,
you start mentioning this, I'm reminded of these works that you read. It's probably documented on several podcasts at this point. One of my favorite authors is a man named Laird Barron, who did his big accomplishment, or more well known for the Old Leech mythos, which is kind of a more nihilistic, Lovecraftian cosmic horror thing. But anyway, a lot of his work deals with that's it's definitely an unreliable narrator, but it's disjointed. And you're here and then you're here, and it's like this dream trippy kind of landscape. And I really liked your idea that you were mentioning about there being a theme park. I would even think that a story like that would, I mean, you could frame it as, you know, not like found footage, but a found location that, like you said, everyone has completely forgotten. And in researching this, our team or writer or whatnot, probably this is going to be a Lovecraftian. As I write on this, I hear the tree dolphin screeching outside my blah 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 kind of thing. But
Yeah.
like there was no social media, there was no huge advertisement. This was a local cryptid that was, you know, cognizant enough to kind of, it knew that it had to hide its tracks, but at the same time, this community where this thing had seen had opened up a theme park and stuff like that. And I think it would be really interesting if you had a story where it's from an employee's point of view, and it's just you're kind of gradually, maybe like diary entry kind of setup. That's pretty
I was just
popular.
thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're going from your new job and how busy it is, and then you got several different entries of stuff, and basically it's getting, there's less and less people there. There's less and less restocked items and stuff like at the carnival games. But the one thing that remains a constant is just this whole pile of the Kentucky tree dolphin plushies and memorabilia. Like that stuff
Yeah.
is never being picked up because it's basically like that the creature's influence is like zapping that from this memory whatsoever. So everybody, like everything's being picked over. Not too many people are going there because they're losing interest in the place because of the tree dolphin. And then pretty much, I think the last entry would be the employee would be the only one there.
I like where that's going. I'm actually kind of reminded. I've recently been playing Fallout 76. Now that they've actually added like
A
Fallout
plot,
content,
a
yeah,
plot
plot
to it.
and content, because of the new Wastelander update. And playing it though, first off, it's in Appalachia, so we've kind of got a similar kind of vibe, if you don't mind me like butchering Kentucky with or joining it into the rest of Appalachia
I feel
a
like
little bit.
this is what it is technically that area of Kentucky, like that is Appalachia. So
Okay.
that over West Virginia, like no, you're correctly identified it right.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't want to like just like loop like, oh, it's like Canada, like, oh, you guys all live in igloos, eh?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But yeah, like playing through that game and like going to like certain areas that have been like ravaged by like the monsters and stuff, and finding log entries and finding multiple log entries of the same person, and then finding their body.
Hmm.
I think that is like it gave me like a really like creepy sense of existentialism while I was playing through that game a little bit. Um, of just like listening in on these logs of these people like trying to survive in this like area, and then by the last one they're basically like, oh, maybe there's a shred of hope, and then meanwhile you've just picked that log up from the skeleton's hand who was in that was in like a cabinet or something.
Oh God.
Yeah, there's some like really like creepy stuff with that.
Yeah.
And like even I recently read through Metro 2033, and Artyom, the main character there, when he's on the surface of like the nuclear hellscape, he finds one of the kiosk shelters for like getting tickets and stuff down into the metro, and he
Yeah.
finds a body down in there, as well as like basically writing all over the walls, like at ground level, at like knee level, because the person like had like sprained their leg, and they crawled back into their old like workspace, waiting for this nuclear apocalypse to kind of blow over, and the whole and like all the writing on the wall, Artyom's reading it, and it's like basically like this person's like last journal entries, and it's like takes place over the course of like weeks.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's like I think the and it also, not to date us, even though I mean anybody who checks this out can see that we've like when this got posted,
Yeah.
but uh during the quarantine and stuff of that, I've heard a lot of tweets and memes about like people like now that we're in quarantine, people should start writing journal entries and just leaving them around their house just in case some future some future game player stumbles upon the ruins of their home and wants to find those those creepy Easter egg things from video games. I was like, God damn it. But yeah, like you're hitting right like a really good like horror spot with like the journal entry format.
If you, I think another thing would be nice would be just casual mentions of things if you were going to sprinkle it around that story, because this is going to be one of these classic and well done like old style monster tales where you finally see the thing at the end, or maybe not even all of it. You could even say, doesn't have to be classic. I mean, Cloverfield, for better or worse, like you finally see it at the tail end,
Yeah,
but like you could put little hints that there's like a sinister thing going on.
like maybe like because I mean the way I like with that the plushie actually, it's like it's like the plushie, but it's so much worse. It's so wrong. Like
Yeah,
it's the plushie, but it's not the plushie. It's like that just repeats for a little bit.
it bends the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You could say there's litigation, a missing. I hate to say it, but I mean it's a common thing that we prey on in literature and movies. People's heartstrings. Like there's a child has went missing, and then
yeah,
there's like so that's hurt it. Another thing would be such and such went on break. And then just casual mentions to that, to where as slowly reality crumbles around our narrator, and even these things become like ephemeral to
yeah.
them, like these facts that like I think it would be a nice little bit of foreshadowing. I never really saw it as being a super like evil thing, but we could definitely skin it that way of
Yeah, and I mean, like, one creature's indifference is our take on evil. So,
yeah. I mean,
like, it
I
may
would
not mean to do this, but it just
yeah.
does this.
So that's my first thing for the show and tell, just the unreliable narrator, and then reality breaks down around them, and then they're alone in the park, and then they hear the echolocation. You could even kind of work that sound in.
Oh yeah, like maybe that's like part of the psionic sound for it, or like like part of it, like a part of its like psionic organ or whatever.
Yeah, you could even have it this other cues that are other than auditory, because and I'm kind of going back to the reverse. Is it reverse? No, false. Why do I keep
False.
saying reverse Hydra? I mean, that sounds like
Every
something
time I
you
think
look
of
up in
reverse.
Urban Dictionary. It's like, oh, well, we just need to give her the reverse Hydra, and you
Oh
Google it.
God. See, you're going that way. I'm thinking like every time I hear reverse Hydra, I'm just thinking of the Hydra like from Hercules, but like put inside out, like that Simpsons episode.
So, if you would like to homage this episode
Oh
of
God.
Audente Rigor Mortis, if you could make up a a Urban Dictionary definition for reverse Hydra,
Oh no, please.
you control the power here. You can cut out everything I just said, and it won't be like
I
it never
can. I won't, but I could.
happened. You could become the tree dolphin.
Oh God. Maybe that's what happened to the guy.
Possibly.
Actually, an idea that kind of came to me while you were talking about the like people going missing and stuff like that, as this guy's like taking like doing his journal entries in the park. Um Almost they kind of take like the plushie thing. It's like, what if like like every time somebody goes missing, a few more plushies pop up here and there.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not sure, like maybe it's like him seeing like did you ever play Dead Space 3, like the co-op?
No, I have not.
Okay, there's there's I guess spoilers for a game that's been out since like 2012, 2013. But
It's fine.
there during the co-op missions, like so the game Dead Space is all about like psychological horror and like visceral horror and stuff. In the co-op, they didn't want to just have it be like a second player that like plays through for you. They actually gave it a character that you can play as, and they see the world differently than the main character or than the normal character. This character is traumatized and like has some serious PTSD from his like backstory. And as you're playing the game, while the first player is seeing like bodies like strung up and like corpses everywhere and stuff like that, and and even just like this weird like growths and mutations from like the necromorph stuff. The set player 2 actually doesn't see that stuff like that. He's seeing like wrapped presents and nutcrackers, like giant like tin soldiers and stuff that were like toys and presents and stuff like that that he that he would give his son from like his dark backstory. And so there I remember watching a let's play of it where one of the guys is like you're seeing that and is like, hey dude, are you seeing like presents and tin soldiers everywhere? He's like, no. What do you see in this room? Just a lot of dead bodies and some messed up like organic stuff. And it's like, oh. So you could almost have that like maybe his sense of his grip on reality starts skewing where like and you could reveal it to the very end that like he starts seeing plushies, and maybe other people like all the other people also start seeing plushies, and that's why they're not reacting as badly. But then like at the end you reveal like either like maybe through like a drone camera like on YouTube, like you like just describe that kind of thing, and they're going through the video through the theme park that's been like that they just discovered, and they're finding like just bodies where the plushies would be.
And there never was a true dolphin. There never was a
It was just some kind of like weird psychosis
it,
in
it,
the it was
well,
the theme park itself maybe even.
or maybe like that it's the theme park itself, where it's like whatever, like we've inserted the tree dolphin there.
Yeah,
Kind of oh god, what was that
that would
King
be
Arthur
like a psychological
scenario?
horror kind of thing.
Yeah, the what was it, the Fisher of Men kind of.
Oh god, yeah, the Bryson Springs by Caleb Stokes.
Yeah. Phew, man, we've went down a dark road.
Yeah. They're actually we went from like again psychic vampire cognivore cryptids to there is no spoon. It was all bodies all the way down. Uh,
So yeah, that was kind of my meandering approach to things. How about yourself?
yeah, again, I really stuck and like I went down a rabbit hole of cognivore cryptid stuff. Have we described what like or my depiction of the Kentucky tree dolphin? Like the I think I just like said, oh, just check the images and stuff like that, and like given like some imagery and stuff like that, or some brief descriptions of like the joints and stuff. But yeah, I guess now it's better late than never. The thing I drew up for this thing was this kind of like alien cryptid, sinewy bodied like monster. With a head that like kind of resembles a dolphin, like with the nose and stuff like that, even though the nose is actually more like in part of its like neck area, because it is kind of like a humanoid thing. And like I kind of gave like there's a slit down the nose, like down the bottleneck of the dolphin like part of its face, that is closed most of the time, but like when it needs to like feed maybe on actual like flesh or like whatever, it opens up like a vertical mouth, kind of like because I like gugs and like their design of like a vertical slit mouth kind of creature.
Yeah.
And then I gave it like again to make it more alien. I gave it like multiple jointed arms, so it's got like two elbows, and its lower joints, since I kind of made it more a little bit like simian or arboreal. It's got basically like grasping hand claws on its arms and on its legs, and just kind of like knuckle like uses its like walks on its knuckles. Because again, I liked the design, that kind of design for the aliens from Independence Day, where they walked on their they didn't like spread out their toes or whatever. Their toes like curled back like a hook almost.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, there's like a bunch of like little like spots and like holes and stuff on their body like that are just like, again, as some kind of alien anatomy. Um, I tried to keep some imagery of the dolphin so that like somebody would like be able to like say it's like maybe some person like who rolled their sand check or like didn't pass their sand check, they just like their mind just like oh yeah, that's definitely a Kentucky tree dolphin. um but yeah, so I definitely fell down the hole of like cryptids. More than like they're like kind of the white worm or um I almost feel like for your idea for like the theme park, like being like the presence itself, like maybe it's like some kind of like spores in the ground, like maybe it's like the cordyceps thing,
Oh God.
or some kind of like mushroom infection that's like in just specific to that area that like alters people's perspectives.
There's a lot of stuff in the air here that's fucked up. Like, I mean, I like honestly, like, coal dust is radioactive and stuff like that.
Oh
And
yeah,
like
that's
in
true.
the
Yeah, you learn.
regions where there's the coal mining, it's like there's oddly enough a lot of cancer. Of course,
Weird. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, carcinogens.
yeah. It's like that in Tennessee too. I mean, just anywhere where there's mining and stuff like that. That's that radioactive element. You know, if I were going to give you like the quintessential Kentucky story with this, um, are you aware of coon hunting? Or let me say
Uh
coon hunting, and then by we call it.
Vaguely.
All right, so I don't. This isn't thing is something that's like everybody does it and stuff like that. But back, I mean, I know people still do it and stuff. But you basically go hunting at night, and you can buy like really expensive headlamps, and you use dogs, and you will just release them, and then they'll run through the woods, and they'll get the scent of a raccoon,
Yeah.
and then they'll tree it. And then basically you just walk up to the tree that it's in. The dogs are barking, and you just shoot the thing out of the tree and throw it in a bag and keep going.
Mhm.
I I remember I went as a kid with my grandfather and stuff like that. And I know I'm kind of interjecting this in here. And
No,
again,
it's
this
fine.
is not
This is kind of a
anything.
brainstorming thing, so.
Yeah, I kind of like a story where it's from a young boy's point of view,
Oh god.
and you're out in the woods with grandfather,
Mhm.
and you could either you know have something horrible happen. Grandfather gets taken out, and then you're seeing the dying headlamp of his body as he's being dragged away, kind of thing, and then you're alone in the woods. The dog's already been killed, or something crazy like that. Or way I would like to do it, because I value my grandparents, even in my fictional ones. Uh, that's the warning that the grandfather calls back the dog. Two of the three come back.
Yeah.
Grandfather's like boys went hunting with his grandfather before, and like dogs will follow anything, and I guess you no telling. They actually, honest to God, they make trackers to put in collars, and you could
Oh
have
yeah.
a screen. That's the modern day rednecks, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
you can
Sorry.
GPS where the fuck your dog is and stuff like that. You could even have the your aliens. This kind of moment you flip up. There's your dog dots, and then there's one dot, and then you see it just rapidly
And then
exits
you
in
just
the
hear the clicking, like the dolphin clicking.
yeah.
Oh god.
And then the grandfather, they leave and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and then you decide what um what like an older protagonist would encounter. Like, is he going back? Probably not. are you picnicking or camping with your family, and you hear that sound, and then you could take it down to any number of like your worst case nightmares that you want to. Is like, oh, where's the kids? Where's the like, where's honey, honey? You could go either way. Just kind of
Yeah.
the clicking sound.
I
Almost,
kind of like. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
it's like a predator and flipper.
Oh my god! Oh my god! We've just made Flipper the predator, the Yakja Flipper. Okay, so two things from that. I kind of want to see a scene where like the kid while he's coon hunting with his grandpa, um, he gets separated from his grandpa. Like maybe he goes like maybe the like one like you say like two of the three dogs comes back, and the kid in like kind of a burst of irrationality that comes with being a child. He's like, "Don't worry, I'll go find him," and then like runs off. And like even despite hearing like the fading protests of his grandfather in the back behind him and stuff like that,
Or
and
it could be,
inevitably gets lost in the woods.
it's a hilly area too. I mean, you
Yeah,
could step off of a bluff or something like that, and the kid fall and break his leg or something like that, or be knocked unconscious, or
yeah. Um, the idea I have like once you get the kid lost, when he's trying to find his grandpa or even like the dogs again, either have the sets of eyes like the because in some of the images I've done of the creature, like I've really kind of I like the idea of like seeing like kind of the glow that eye reflection that dogs and animals at night have when you shine a light
Mhm.
near them, or go a little bit more lean into like the creature's abilities. It mimics the grandfather's light while you're but there's something off, like he can see a light like his grandfather's headlight or headlamp or whatever,
Mhm.
but he's hearing the clicking in that direction, like it's planting in that like image on its head, or like in the kid, or maybe that is something that it's capable of like mimicking like biologically.
Yeah.
um and then yeah, and then like have the kid like come like get closer, and then like realize that it's not his grandfather and start running. Eventually, like you said, finds the or finds his grandfather and gets away. And then years later, he's with his own family, like camping, maybe at I don't know, maybe at one of those like tent, those tree tent
Yeah.
camping things, or
There's a globe things.
yeah, the tree globe, or what have you, like some kind of a campsite there, or like maybe they're going fishing with like the family, and um, while he's like getting like the barbecue going or getting like the fire going like for food and stuff like that, he asks his wife or whoever, "Hey, where's Billy? Like his son or something like that now." And then just as he says that, that's when he hears the clicking
Yeah,
again, and that's where you end the story.
that would be good. That would
Just
be
like no, like just like that horror, not trope but trend of just like having like leaving the story in suspense at the very end.
What about now, have you ever went, canoeing or
Yeah.
kayaking or
Oh
anything
yeah.
like that?
Yeah. We portage up here.
Okay. So, and you're familiar with it from, like, previous game that I need to hurry up and edit so
Right.
we
Yes.
can post the, Delta Green-ish one. But so there's a, man-made, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
There's a, man-made lake, cave run lake, and it, goes into the, Licking River. And, basically, like, I've done this before, but you can, at the spillway, of course, there's a dam at this lake and all. There's, just where the river is, or stream. Maybe it's a stream that goes into the river, Sleek Creek. I can't remember names,
Yeah.
but I put in on it before, and, uh, I didn't do a really good job of marking off where, uh, there's if I follow the river, there's a place by the road that I was aiming on getting off, docking, or, getting on ground and pulling up, and then I was gonna call my wife and have her come pick me up in the vehicle, and I could, strap the canoe on top of the Jeep and all that. It'd be cool. Well, I missed it. Me and a buddy of mine missed it. And like I don't know if you've been that alone before, but like following this river and going out on these farms and going through forests and shit like that where there's no like civilization whatsoever, like it's a very like unique feeling. Like we
Yeah,
don't experience that every day. And I think, if you were going to make this a bigger thing, you could have like the boy's grown up. He's in college or she's in college, and you're kayaking with your friends, and then you're out in the middle of nowhere, and then you start hearing the noises on one side of the river, answering on the other. Noises on one side, answering
oh,
on the other. And it's just three kayaks or canoes going down here slowly. And everyone's curious except for our narrator.
who's heard it before?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that would be a good one because like and again to kind of tie it to the theme park thing a little bit. Maybe even like they're lost basically out there in the rivers and in the woods there. They're hearing the clicking, um, and it eventually like kind of takes them or like either by the creature's own doing or just like by serendipity or something like that. It like they're trying to find shelter. Like they're not finding civilization. They're basically lost in the woods, like Blair Witch style kind of thing. Um, and they
didn't you,
find the theme park just in the middle of nowhere.
you look for that. Like, I mean, I'm serious. I got lost. Like, I
Yeah,
knew where the fuck I was going to end up. I was
yeah,
going to end up in Ohio River, but like, I didn't know where I was, and I
yeah.
missed this turnoff. And I mean, like, I found a marijuana patch on the
Oh,
side. And my God bless. Like some people just don't grow up the same way. But this buddy of mine, I was canoeing with. He's, "Hey, Adam, is that marijuana?" And all of a sudden, I started hearing burp, 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 or somebody had dogs tied up out there
oh,
where that
jeez.
weed was. And
Yeah,
I've like start paddling. I also carried a gun. I didn't think I was going to get into a shootout, but like we were somewhere where somebody didn't want us to be. But like as I was going out in this area, like I was looking for places to like figure out where the fuck I was. So like I mean I was finding like old covered bridges that were like the slats were gone.
oh god, that's
Yeah.
like to me that's terrifying too. Like
Oh,
like 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 the like where there was like an old road or something like that with like a one of those
just a
like
footpath, but
oh,
it spanned across the river, and I ended up going across one of those old ones. Like it wasn't smart, but I didn't know where the fuck to get out of where I was. But I actually think I saw a power line or a barn or something like that off the
yeah,
side of the river. And that would be probably something that if you're, you know, looking for civilization and you see a power line or a barn or any kind of structure, yeah, you're 100% correct. You're gonna beeline right toward that.
yeah. Like up here, actually near where I live, we've got a lot of woods. Like we're basically a subdivision or like a development in the woods. Like it's like a pocket of suburbs just surrounded by wilderness. Um, and I recently went on one of one of the bike trails just like to walk for about an hour with some family.
Yeah.
And because I mean had to get out of the house because cabin fever was kicking was kicking in.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I've told stories either on the show or on Twitter about my coyote encounter.
Hmm.
um, but we were walking out there, and I did not realize just how many stone walls and old farm perimeter walls and foundations there are in the middle of that forest. Like 100-year-old properties, I guess, that like of the where the farm just like gave out and they abandoned it, and so now there's just the forest reclaimed it after like 100 years. Because yeah, there's just like all that's left is the cement foundations or like all the rocks that they hewed out of their fields and then like made a perimeter out of, and
And
then the farms went bust and the trees grew back within 100 years, and so now there's just this random rock wall in the middle of the woods where there really shouldn't be, and add on that people, while they're hiking, will decide to take some of those rocks and make little Inukshuk figures, or say put a weird porcelain angel statue in the nook of a tree at the right next to one of those those rock piles near the trail, and you've got yourself a creepypasta.
Have you found any graves yet?
No, but we did find a lot of like rock holes, like holes that were like they put a bunch of the rocks in and stuff. Have not seen if there were any graves out there. They were unmarked.
Some behind my wife's parents' house. Like I was walking back in that woods, and then I start noticing the ground's like a depression.
Yeah,
Not huge, but 6-7 inches. And then I start looking at the shape of the depression.
and you
And
realize it's
it's a casket or a pine box or something
yeah,
like that. But yeah, and I even found like the tin marker. I wouldn't call it a headstone, but I mean, God, who knows how this is 1800s or something like that. Guarantee
yeah.
it. But it's wild. Wow. So tree dolphin. Sorry.
No, it's great because like again, like I think the tree dolphins, like kind of the charm of it is like that like air of like Appalachia cryptidness or like
Yeah.
Americana cryptid, which again like it's just like fear of the wilderness or what lies in the woods
Yeah.
kind of thing is what we got going here.
Is
Um,
does Canada have as big of an emphasis on like ATVs and UTVs and stuff like
oh
that? Is
yeah,
that all right?
yeah, yeah. My one of my best friends growing up had like 2 or 3 ATVs, and we had to get him out of a mud covered road once with them. So yeah, we're as far as I can tell from my experience, ATVs are fairly common.
Yeah. I mean, people
Or
around here, and I mean, I live right behind it. And I know there's a lot of natural gas coming out of Canada as well. This kind of
yeah,
story can be skinned like, your ATV in. There's parks that actually they've tried to reclaim old strip mines out here to make like ATV parks, see cancer. Earlier
yeah,
conversation,
yeah,
but you could have that. The people are not on a boat; they're out riding around with their buddies, and this could be your slasher. This would be if we're gonna like. I'm kind of slowly making a transition here, I guess. But if you were making this into a game, that would be your fear itself game, where you
yeah,
have like the archetypes or of characters, and this is what they're doing. Another thing, because any of these cryptid stories that you encounter, or horror in general, is about being alone for the most part.
yeah.
Even if you're in a room full of people, you're alone. But you know, somebody's surveying to put a pipeline down,
Yeah,
and I've heard there was she's still my friend. What the fuck am I talking about? One of my closest noticed friends. She was a GIS major, so she did like maps and stuff. And when they were laying these lines out, she um, would have to go out in the wilderness and use her equipment and map stuff out. And there's
gotcha.
there's been issues with bears she's had, which I
Never
think
heard
I'm
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
My apologies. I've kind of digressed a little bit on you.
No, it worked again. Like it's kind of pulling in like the slasher vibe of like, and also, again, another well talked about idea for being in the woods is being the surveyor or park ranger. Again, see the what are they called, what's the big park out west,
Like Yellowstone.
Yosemite. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yosemite or Yellowstone, like the those like all the missing cases and like the bizarre missing cases, like they find a person's like shoes like 30 feet high up in a tree, like in a little like just on a branch, like hanging from a branch, or like some old man like went missing and they find his cane like up in the middle, up on the top of a tree, like where he should never have been able to have climbed up to.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
it's just like that kind of stuff is just so. Yeah, maybe that's just chalked up to the Kentucky tree dolphin,
Yeah.
except it's just not in Kentucky anymore. It's across the nation.
Yeah. We just named it because it was here, and that thing, honest to God, That's the thing that scares me the fucking most, that missing 411 stuff. Of course, we've talked about it at length in the past and shit like that
Yeah, I think that was the
every
one that
time.
you like. I think the first one you mentioned was like the one that you listened of our show when we
Yeah.
first met. So
Mhm.
was the
Exactly.
Search and Rescue Woods.
Oh,
Uh,
every time I'm out in the woods by myself hunting or anything like that, and
just
I've
like
read
don't see stairs, don't see stairs, don't see
yeah,
stairs.
don't see stairs. You hear weird things, but I tell you, I'm gonna challenge you here. It's easy to make this horror. Why don't we make it cute? Like, what would you write? Or this is probably more a game than a creepy pasta. Otherwise, it wouldn't
Yeah,
be creepy.
I mean it could still be creepypasta, but yeah, it's just really where
Yeah,
you shift you think that the horror is about the monster, but really it's about the people
yeah,
or about the other people, about like the outsider people. But yeah, um, honestly, I would probably go ET-ish, or Monster and Other Childish Things,
okay.
in a big way. Like maybe it does like eat memory, but it doesn't like it nibbles.
Oh,
It doesn't take a lot. Um, and maybe it like yeah, like maybe we have like some kid who got lost in the woods and it befriends, because you also see like you hear a lot of those stories from again the missing 411. I think that's the name of
yeah,
it.
that is correct.
Yeah. Where you hear a lot of stuff from that about like kids who have been like the one or two kids that have been found. They talk about like how like Mr. Blankety Blank, the Mr. Stick Witch,
Yeah,
found them and or like was taking care of them for a few days or something like that. While people were searching for them, and you're like, what the? And then they describe this creature or this person, and it's like basically like Bigfoot or like something else.
yeah.
So yeah, you could have like basically the cryptid not be a malevolent entity or at all, and just have it be like kind of a benevolent like help friend to all the children kind of thing. Just have
Maybe,
Gamera just like tromping through
yeah.
the woods.
All right, I'm gonna show my age here. I know I'm a little bit older than you, but like, do you remember the movie Baby?
That's the one with the long neck dinosaur, right?
Yeah,
Yes, I actually
I,
do remember watching that as a kid.
my aunt took me to the movie theater to see it as a kid, and I remember that. I think my parents probably rented it on VHS at one point in time too. But so for those of you that were not born in the '80s and went through all this here, Baby is I don't fucking remember much, but I
Google, if only we had Google.
yeah, if only. There was I know there was a kid and all that, and they were in Amazon or something, and they find a baby dinosaur and stuff like that. And there's people after it, poachers or whatnot. I can't really remember, but at the end of the film, that's when you run into Mama, and Mama
Yeah,
takes care of all the bad people and stuff. So, I would kind of, if I were going to make this a more friendly kind of game, Monster of the Week, not so much, but yeah, Little Fears, I think would be a great system for that. Is like a bunch of kids befriend a baby tree dolphin, and
yes. Oh my god. And then what happens when Mama shows up?
yeah, Mama show. Well, you know, I would like to think the kids are okay, and Mama's not going to get them, but
Yeah,
you
but I
know,
mean, like maybe
they,
like have, oh, yeah, you could also like have the government people, and then just as the government people are like enclosing in on the kids, and then have like Mama Tree Dolphin
yeah, I
show up.
think I think YouTubers would be great because fuck those guys.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah, like YouTubers or like those. Yeah, they're trying to find cryptids or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, honestly, what was it? I was just watching a bunch of like top 5 scary videos from somebody on there, and it almost like I had this idea like, oh, like I think honestly if we were going to use this, I might suggest if the YouTuber group be called um internet's creepiest home videos.
yeah,
Because like that's honestly like I will be surprised if that hasn't been used as a YouTube channel yet. But
hmm
it's basically like American Homes videos, but like um uh the YouTube version for creepy videos, because there's all those like different YouTube channels where like they're like, oh, here's the top 5 creepy videos that you shouldn't watch in the dark, or stuff like that. And then now they've started like, oh, you can post your own creepy videos that you think are noteworthy, and would if you'd like, you have a chance to have it posted on our episode, one of our episodes coming up. So yeah, I think like maybe even have like somebody who's like trying like just a desperate group of like content creators.
It's just they've got something, and once they catch whiff of it, then hell or high water, and it doesn't matter who they hurt. And I've got your closing scene. I don't know how you're going to get there, but I've got your closing scene right here. So the people have been dealt with one way or another. Maybe their memories have all been devoured, and it's not going to be as evil, bloodshed, retribution kind of thing at the end. But
Yeah.
and then our kids or kid that has befriended the baby, and there's that tearful saying goodbye to ET moment, but instead of by the way, ET the extraterrestrial, but I feel like I have to say that every time I see that, but
Yeah.
um yeah, as they're saying goodbye, then the little baby tree dolphin puts its head up to the main player protagonist, and with tears in its little dolphin eyes, it takes its memory, the kid's memories of him away.
Oh, I was just thinking that. See, I would also go a little bit further. Like that happens, and then I don't know if this might ruin the ending, like that kind of tearful ending. But like years down the road, the kid grows up and is in the area where like they're camping with their kids and like family, and again it's like the horror version, but like a little bit like a slightly different twinge. While they're out camping and while their kids are playing just off in the woods slightly, and he's cooking some food, and he calls the kids, and then he hears a faint like the dolphin echo, like typing, the clicking,
Yeah.
and like there's like a moment of recognition, and then that's where you end it.
Oh Lord.
Like maybe even like like maybe like he stopped crying when the Kentucky Tree Dolphin like wiped his memory the first time,
Yeah.
and then as soon as he hears the clicking again, the tears continue like years later.
So yeah, man, that's a really kind of a wistful gut check kind of ending where, we know what was lost, but maybe the person does, maybe they don't, maybe they have like an inkling of it.
Yeah.
But yep. For a second I thought you were going to do like a fox and a hound ending where all of a sudden they're kind of adversarial until they remember each other or something. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you could do that too. Like maybe even have like because like from the adult point of view, like it's something that might be threatening its his family, his kids.
Yeah.
Like maybe again we go with like that horror scene, just flip it a little bit, where like he asks where his kids are, like or like calls them, and then you hear the clicking, but like not the kids. So he goes rushing out with the rifle, scared for his children, and then he goes out there and like finds his kids, and they just say that they were just playing with someone, and then when he asks who, then you get the clicking, and then like that recognition kind of comes back to him.
Yeah. Man, this is a really nice ending. I dig that.
Yeah.
Do all creepypastas end all happy?
Sometimes, honestly, sometimes this is what we like. This actually, what we just described is what me and my fellow co-hosts like to describe as buddy horror. Not body horror, but buddy horror. When like when a character befriends one of the monsters, and then there is some horror aspects to it, but it's like got kind of a happy-ish ending, or sometimes it's not so happy ending. But yeah,
Okay.
again, it's basically like, I mean, creepypastas can have happy endings. It's just they're usually not because that's what spooks people.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I definitely I dig that idea. But maybe again, I'm also a sucker for ET and like Mac and Me and
Oh,
those
yeah.
those kind of fictions, because I grew up on like those kind of like I grew up on picking up those movies from the local movie warehouse rental store. So
They had those down here too.
yeah. Oh god, I missed that rental store. It was so good. It had like all of these like Full Moon Entertainment like family films and stuff like that. Like just the B-rated horror and B-rated like ET style, like Spielberg wannabe movies.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Did you ever notice that, like, you knew you were getting a shitty movie when you picked up the case and then, like, you could move it around and it had, like, one of those holographic, like, "Oh, it's a person. Oh, it's a werewolf. It's a person."
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if you had a VHS with that on it, it was pure shit.
Yep.
Ah,
Oh
shoots.
wait, my Lost World disc, my Lost World Jurassic Park VHS had that.
Mm.
Mm. Anyway,
Awesome.
yeah, I think that there's not a whole lot else more to be said regarding the Kentucky Tree Dolphin. We've got a fair. I think what we've come up with is some pretty solid stuff for like both a story or even like a game scenario. Like you could have any of these story ideas, like write them up for a creepypasta to post, or even um, like use them in like Delta Green, Fear Itself, um, Little Fears, Monster and the Childish Things. Especially by the last ones, I think a Little Fears game would be interesting because it would basically be a game not about the monster being the monster, like being the antagonist, but it would be basically like the G-men or like the asshole YouTubers who are just trying to get the views,
Yeah.
um, and like damn what it harms, or like damn what it damages.
Yeah.
Like have that like kind of thing, and then like yeah, you could even have that like final like note like scene of like him like the kids older now, like they've grown up, they've had kids of their own, they're all like on like a camping trip because they've all stayed like kind of stayed in touch with each other, and they've decided to do like a summer camping trip, and then they hear the clicking, and then boom, like, that's where you end the story, where you end the scenario.
Yeah.
No, it's just I love how we you dropped this name um yeah, just as a joke from when we were like brainstorming of what the hell was in the woods of Slade, Kentucky, in that episode, and then I kind of just went down the rabbit hole on like drawing it up and then like adding my own little mythos or like my own little like things to it, and then like I just felt like we needed to talk about it as an episode. So, um, is there anything else you'd like to bring up with the concerning the Kentucky Tree Dolphin, or?
I'm I'm tickled that it took fire like it did with you. I totally, like I said, I just thought I was just being a smart ass. And then like it turned into this and all the artwork, and yeah, I was really I'm glad to have been able to contribute to that. It you all, listening, I'm tuning in to, for our next episode where we talk about the South Iowa potato squid. But
Okay, don't give me ideas.
shoot,
Oh
but
God, yeah,
it and oh, you dig it up and you see tentacles wrapping around a shovel. But anyway, I've just
it's
sowed
like the
that
shut
seed.
house. Oh yeah, damn it! I'm like my brain's already starting to like formulate like how to connect this to the Shunned House from Lovecraft. God damn it.
Oh, I've got something for that. I'll tell you about that later. But
Okay.
all in all, I'm glad that to return to earlier analogies, that we could take just this really full load of manure and sprout a beautiful Kentucky tree dolphin out of it. I feel like this is like a web redemption where we redeem somebody else on the web.
I was almost gonna say this is almost like yeah, like it's like we took somebody's like somebody's story that like wasn't the best. Okay, it was pretty shitty. Um, I don't like to be that mean sometimes, but yeah, it wasn't very good. But we found something out of it, or we were inspired by it to do this, and it's almost like our Patreon episodes that we have for Al Dente, the plot growers,
Yeah,
because we take the manure of something bad or something that we didn't like, something infumed us enough that we wanted that we had to like create something good from it.
yeah. You know, it's kind of there's no stupid questions. Only, well, yes, there are stupid questions, but even something good can come from it. And the discussion that takes place or whatnot. And you know what? I'm talking a lot of crap about this person, but I haven't written anything that prolific that, and posted on the internet since Final Fantasy fan fiction back in 1997, maybe. But, hey, don't you judge me, goddammit.
All right. All I'm saying is I'm gonna need a copy of that so we can add to the show.
I think it went down when GeoCities went down, man.
Oof. Okay.
That nugget of joy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it. I guess, like, if anything, possibly tune in to One Less Die and maybe RPX. If I'm gonna say when I get around to running Cognivore Country.
You're pretty prolific with this stuff. There's not an if, there is a when. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, and we'll post if again when it gets done. I will make sure to bring that to attention for anybody who listens to our who follows us on Al Dente and doesn't necessarily follow One Less Die or the Role Playing Exchange podcast. Which, shame on you, or not. But yeah, I think that's a good wrap up for the episode. Adam, would you like to sound off on any kind of plugs and stuff for your fantastic actual play podcast?
Oh, well, thank you. I would love to. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm not in charge necessarily. I'm just the one everybody turns to. But yeah, I do the Roleplaying Exchange. That's www.roleplayingexchange.com. We release typically 2 actual plays a month, and then we do a talkie episode. And we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/roleplayingexchange, which we just take the money and turn it back over to the podcast, some form, fashion. I'm paranoid about actually making money off stuff I enjoy. And yeah, you can also reach out to us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the Roleplaying Exchange. And we also are on Twitter at RPEXCHANGE. And I actually, old man Thornsberg here has a lot more fun on Twitter than he does Facebook. So you would probably find I put more smart ass comments on Twitter. I don't think a lot of people look at Facebook. So, if you want the best of us, check out Twitter.
All right. And yeah, you can check out Al Dente or leave a comment for this episode if you liked what you heard, or if you didn't. If you're like, I want the Ohio gravel eel. Yeah, like, just leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're also on Twitter, or I am, as the official correspondent for Al Dente Rigor Mortis at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky urban legends, and creepy internet stories that are not skeevy in any way. Please do not send us any kind of no, don't send us that. Creepy as in like horror, not like creepy as in like too real. Just you can send us an email there.
Though how for go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. You can also contact or help support us on Patreon at Al Dente Rigor Mortis, and we have special episodes, early access, extra content, all for either $2 or $5. For our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to the listeners of the show and the authors of the stories that we usually read about, talk about, and the story that spawned this off comment that's turned into a cryptid. Thank you guys immensely, because, well, without your listenership, we wouldn't have much of a show, and without your stories and kind of inspirational fodder, we definitely wouldn't have much of a show. So thank you. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Adam.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.
Goodbye, everybody.